I've made several videos discussing Islam, trying to show why it is inherently just as violent or peaceful as Christianity, and political and socioeconomic problems are the reasons as to why it is more violent than Christianity at the moment. The hate and insults I get back from it is just crazy. Being called PC, being told that atheists attack Christians but cuddle Islam, and that I'm a fool and an idiot if I can't see the difference between the two books. And that's all from other atheists. Okay, let's just say for a second that the Quran is a much more violent book that leads to a destructive nature. So what? What do you hope to accomplish? It's a concept I've been trying to put into words for the past few years, but it's never quite coalesced into a coherent video until now. Prior to Draw Muhammad Day, which I did participate in the first time in support of free speech, we were highly focused on the psychology that went into changing the minds of Christian believers. We attacked claims and stories of the Bible, the very foundation of whether God was real. Creationism versus evolution. We would attack crazy religious leaders and pwn the claims of fellow YouTubers. We would talk about our own struggles and deconversion stories. We would use satire, taking the claims of believers themselves and taking it to its usually ridiculous or messed up logical conclusion. It was a lot of fun and we saw great strides we were making. When we talked about problems the Christian lifestyle caused, we showed data comparing believers and non-believers and rates of violence, imprisonment, divorce, and porn use. We had our good cops and our bad cops, intellectually academic soft sells for gradual progression, and mockery for flooding. The atheist community pretty much all agreed that both had their place, as the point was to try and convince the believer. And then something happened when Islam became bigger in our lives, especially after things with Dawa Films got weird. That and the end of video responses. All of the arguments against Islam became summed up as, Muslims are more violent than any other religion, Muhammad was a tyrant and a pedophile, Muslims can't take a joke. Some extreme elements, usually Europeans, claim that Islamists were trying to outbreed Europeans and make it a caliphate, even though by 2050, France, which is the highest Muslim population, is projected to have a 15% Muslim population. Unless everyone does not vote, it will be impossible for any of Europe to become a caliphate. The formula that held the atheist community together when it came to convincing believers who were on the fence went entirely out the window. Bad cops just painted Islam's extreme elements as the norm. They didn't attack their stories or whether God was real, just in a more Muslim bent, and they rarely used comedy but more fear. Instead of attacking the book, they attacked the people. The number one way to stop people from listening to you, especially something they hold extremely dear. Instead of humor that people on the fence with a semi-religious conservative mindset might laugh at, it went to a needlessly vulgar side. Us good cops were completely blindsided by this, as we had always seen each other as on the same team. When we tried to correct some for misunderstanding of geopolitical issues, we were attacked as Muslim lovers and Muslim coddlers. Instead of showing how much better atheism was than Islam, suddenly the bad cops became apologists for Christianity and how much better it was than Islam. Every single thing the bad cops have done was everything you do to ensure that people you are trying to reach won't listen to you. The good cops have spent the last 2 years trying to resurrect the old formula, but to no avail. We were making breakneck progress with the old formula, and suddenly everyone went off script. Humor, mocking, comedy, I have no problems with these, especially when grounded in facts, as it brings people on the sidelines in with humor. As Oscar Wilde said, if you have to tell people the truth, make them laugh, otherwise they'll kill you. None of what the bad cops say makes even the most moderate Muslims laugh. We can't follow the old formula because they believe that all Muslims are crazy, rabid monsters who have no feelings for anyone, no sense of humor at all, who will eat their young at a moment's notice. I can prove that Muslims have a sense of humor. 4 words. Ahmed the dead terrorist. Jeff Dunham was quite nervous when his agency convinced him to do a Middle East tour, especially with his dead terrorist routine. He went to Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, all places painted as "here there be Muslim monsters" by the bad cops. And guess what? They fucking loved him. They laughed and thought he was hilarious. He was and is a huge hit. They are people. Misguided people, just like Christians. If we can reach the moderates, they will take hold in their countries and begin pushing their more conservative elements to be more moderate. Iranian young people outnumber their elders 3-1 and love America and are extremely Western and at least religiously moderate. Lebanese young people are connected to the internet and prefer to learn English or French over Arabic, and are incredibly moderate. These people are ripe for convincing, but if you attack them as a people and mock them without making them laugh, it just becomes a pissing contest that will do nothing to change anyone's mind and make them hate Western ideas even more. That doesn't mean we should stop people from making crude comments about Islam. That is free speech. But that is not how you spread an idea. I recently had a discussion with a Muslim in my comments and asked them to defend certain violent verses. Some of them they rationalized away as being less violent, just like a Christian, but one particular verse about fighting those who insult Islam, they responded with, "Well, wouldn't you punch someone who said something bad about your mom?" This may seem shocking to a Western person's thinking, but go into any area with high poverty, regardless of the nation, even in the US or Europe, and insult someone's mother. Pretty sure they will go medieval on your ass. This is a poverty mindset, and many Islamic nations are getting more and more wealthy and educated. And in the next generation, this idea should hopefully go away in the more wealthy economies. It was the first time I had ever had to explain why I would never exact physical violence on someone hurting my mother's honor, because that was free speech and I could just throw the insult back. I was better than that. This made the person think. They didn't quite know how to digest it and respond to that. The first thing we need to realize if we're going to reach Muslims is that they are people, misguided people, full of misguided ideas, trapped in a religion just like many of us, and need a mix of reason and laughter to get out of it. If we aim our blasphemy and humor only at our fellow non-believers to laugh at how much better we are, and I guess all other religions are than them, and not even try to target the fence-sitters or moderates, then all that will do is isolate them. Just as we have done very well, and make it really easy for the imams and ayatollahs to vilify us as hateful Westerners who don't care about Eastern peoples. And we are so full of hate because we don't have God. So Islam is more violent than any other religion. So what? All we're doing is helping the other religions and isolating and dehumanizing all Muslims, many who are seeking the truth, and putting a very bad taste in their mouths of atheism. We need to get back on the old method of good cop, bad cop, attacking the claims and ideas, and maybe a few religious leaders here and there, and not the people we're trying to convince. Following the formula has such a powerful impact, but if we stray from it through fear or self-congratulations, we will make no progress and slow much of the incredible progress we made here on YouTube. Attack claims and stories from the Quran, the very foundation of whether Allah is real. Creationism versus evolution. Find and attack crazy religious leaders and pwn the claims of Muslims on YouTube or Vimeo. But do it because they're like you may have once been, trapped and needing free, not because you view them as monsters. Because if that is the case, war, bombings, and slaughter is the only way to stop the quote-quote Muslim scourge, which is what the warmongers would dearly love to have happen.